Good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss about physical vapor deposition (PVD) technique. Okay, it is one of the technique of surface coating. In this particular lecture, we are going to discuss different types of PVD technique. So, first, before going to start, let us know what is the PVD or maybe in physical vapor deposition method. Actually, what is there? Okay, so it is one kind of method by which physical ejection of materials and upon some molecules and conversion and nucleation of these atoms on 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 a substrate. That means from this particular line we can get that we are having certain kind of base, or maybe that certain kind of material we are agitating by maybe some laser, or maybe some electron beam, or maybe some current, or maybe some thermal, and that is releasing some kind of atom, or maybe the molecules, or maybe some kind of plasma materials, and then we are using certain kind of vapor gases, maybe or may not be then that material, or maybe that ions, and that molecules can deposit on a substrate which you are going to modify. So in a basic term, just to simplify, we are doing the coating by using any kind of atoms or molecules, or maybe the plasma into the vaporized condition. So the vapor phase material can consist of ions or plasma, and is often chemically reacted with gases introduced into the vapor, called reactive deposition, to form a new composite. So from this particular, you can see in the figure, you can understand that whenever the gas we are introducing, maybe it can react with that ions or molecules, or maybe it can simply the inert want to help the homogeneous coating of that particular molecules on that substrate itself. Then this process can be applied to various kind of materials like ceramic, polymers, metals, then which allows the composite, etc. So here is the introduction about the PVD. Now here in this example I have given in this diagram, there is our material which we are going to the substrate, okay, which we are going to modify, and below that this is one, or maybe that rather we can say it that as a substrate, and this is the metal ion, or maybe some kind of material which we are going to put onto top of the our substrate. So by keeping our material, then either by giving the heating, or maybe some kind of electron beam, or maybe the laser beam, or maybe some kind of other energy material, we are agitating these metal ions, so that the metal ion slowly it can deposit it onto the our substrate itself. Okay, now this is the next slide. We are going to discuss about the classification of physical vapor deposition, or maybe PVD technique. So there are several types of PVD technique available in terms of that how we are going to modify those samples, how we are going to agitate the material, or maybe how we are going to do the coating, or maybe what term of energy just we can use to agitate those materials and to the do the coating over the substrate. So first is the thermal evaporation method, then electron beam, or maybe e-beam evaporation, then reactive activated reactive, or activated reactive electron beam evaporation, then splattering, then filtered ionic cathodic arc depositions, then ion plating, and pulsed laser deposition. So we can see that total 7 numbers of classification are available regarding this PVD methods. Okay, so we'll discuss one by one. So first we will discuss in detail about the thermal evaporation. So what is the thermal evaporation means? So from the name itself you can understand that we are giving certain kind of heat to the source material so that it can agitate due to that temperature or maybe the heating, and then it can release the molecules, and directly that atoms and molecules can go onto the substrate, and slowly it deposit on the top of that. So here that beauty of this technique is that it is totally controllable one. So what about the thickness we are going to achieve? Easily we can achieve those materials. So a thermal evaporation uses uh, an electric resistant heater to melt the source material and rise its vapor pressure to a useful range. Okay, so sometimes we are using certain kind of heating elements or maybe the heating coil, then that heating coil is giving a thermal environment by which your source is coming into the vapor form, and that vapor is depositing onto your substrate or maybe metal or maybe the ceramic or maybe the polymer. Okay, so thermal energy is imparted to the atoms in a liquid or solid source, or so that it can efficiently evaporate, and the evaporation takes place in the vacuum. Generally we are using the high vacuum, because otherwise what will happen if we do not use vacuum, or maybe we do not use certain kind of inert gases, maybe that vaporize metals and can be reacted with the environmental oxygen or maybe the moisture, and it can form the newer material or maybe the some unuseful material. Okay, so evaporated particles can travel directly to the deposition target without colliding with the background gas, or films can also be evaporated using this multiple sources. So from this particular figure, as I have shown in this here slide, you can understood that we are having the certain source over there, and then we are doing for the degreasing, we are having a coating onto the wall, and so that heat cannot go outside, and this is our substrate material as I have shown in that diagram, so which we are going to the coating. Then we are agitating this material by means of kind of heater or maybe the electrical coil, so that this can be from a vapor, and that vapor directly can deposit onto the substrate. Okay, now there are the several types of the this thermal evaporation according to input energy. So first is a direct resisting heating, then indirect resisting heating, then inductive heating, laser ablation or laser evaporation. So these are the some types of thermal evaporation. Let us discuss some advantages of this thermal evaporation technique. Okay, so first one is the it is very simple and cheap method. Okay, and less surface damage of the substrate, excellent purity of the flames, because there is some direct method and there is a indirect method also. So anyhow we are not going to harm our target material, so just we are giving the energy to the source material, so that source material can come into the vapor form and simply deposit onto the target material or maybe the substrate material. Okay, then there is a certain disadvantages also there. So limited, this method is limited to low melting point metal, then it having the poor density and adhesion. Okay, as I have mentioned, limited to low melting point metal and poor density and adhesion, because we are giving a certain heat to the particular method, and if the material, if the melting point of that precursor material is too high, then it is very difficult to make them into the vapor form. Not only that, the directly the gas is coming onto the substrate, so it depends upon the surface chemistry of that particular target material. So if the target material is a little bit sticky, or maybe there is some kind of oil, or maybe the glaziness is absorbed, so automatically that material will deposit onto that surface of the core, but there will not be any kind of bond, or may not maybe addition of in between these two. So then it is not possible to operate the dielectric material. Okay, then filaments limits the amount of material that can be deposit, and the step coverage is more difficult to improve. Okay, so there are a lot of disadvantages also are possible in this technique. Then optimization. Okay, so then optimization, purity of the film depends on the purity of the source material and the quality of the vacuum. In case of the films, the thickness of the films vary according to the geometry of chamber. The thing is that what of, about the source material or maybe the precursor materials, we are going to take that depend upon the purity, and if that material itself improve then impure, then uh, with that material some impurity also come into the vapor form, and that will deposit on the substrate, so that will not get the exact property whatever we want. Then in case of film, the thickness of films varies according to the geometry of the chamber because it depends on the vacuum. So if the sample size will be more, then automatically the chamber size will be more, according to, because we need certain constant vacuum for doing this kind of modification. Then what are the application about this evaporation? So in that application, evaporation of metal, alloys, semiconductors, insulation, etc, etc, it is possible with the help of this method. Then gold plating machines, then thermal insulation coating. So this is a common applications. Okay, now let us move for the next one, technique among uh, belongs to the PVD. We are going to discuss about the electron beam evaporation. So from the name itself we can understand that here we are using the electron, and then that electron we are going to bombard onto the source material or maybe precursor material, and then that precursor material is released certain kind of ion or maybe the molecules or maybe the plasma, and then that is directly depositing onto your base metal or maybe the substrate. Okay, so here, so in this diagram I have shown there is a target anode is bombarded with the electron beam giving upon by a charged tungsten filament under high vacuum. So we are using one anode material and other one is into the cathodic material. So here anode is the source or maybe the precursor, and the cathode is our substrate. So we are hitting or maybe bombarding our anode material by the electrons. Then we are ejecting those electrons, and then they are releasing certain kind of atoms or maybe the molecules, and that is deposited onto the cathode, means our substrate. Okay, now that atoms then precipitate into the solid form, and by coating the substrate with a thin layer of the anode material we are getting the coating. Okay, so there are the several advantages of this technique, because here high as well as low deposit rate is there, and in this technique it have the ability to control the structural as well as the morphological property of the film. Okay, so, so that filament degradation due to the non-uniform evaporation rate, significantly scattering of the vapor cloud takes place. And yes, maybe sometime it can be homogeneous things coating, maybe it may be heterogeneous coating can possible. Then what about the application? So generally we are using this technique for aerospace materials cutting and tool industry, electronic and optical frames for the semiconductor industry. So there I have shown the applications. Okay, let us go for the next one, that is called a reactive and activated reactive electron beam evaporation. Okay, so what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this reactive and activated reactive electron beam, the certain refractory oxides and carbide undergo fragmentation during electron beam evaporation resulting in stoichiometry which is different from the initial material. So to overcome this situation, state to activate reactive operations are employed, and both e-beam and thermal evaporation process are used to reactive and activated reactivity deposition. So first we have to discuss about the thermal evaporation, then we have discussed about the e-beam, okay, which may be the electron beam evaporation. So this technique is the now this reactive and activated reactive electron beam is the combination of the thermal evaporation as well as the electron beam evaporation. So when we are giving the material a high electron beam, it is giving high energy to that material itself. So while it is that source material is going into the vapor form, maybe it can change its characteristic. So when whatever material we are wanting as a coating material, maybe that property can be changed. So we are using the combination of both thermal evaporation process and e-beam operation process together in this reactive and activated reactive electron beam evaporation technique. Now what are the advantages? So deposition of the oxide, generally compounds we can do here. What are the reactive type? In this process, that reactive gas, generally oxygen, nitrogen, hydrocarbon is introduced into the chamber while the metal is evaporated, and when the thermodynamic conditions are met, then metal atom react with the gas in the vicinity of the substrate to form a film. So here we are using the gas as well as the atoms together do the coating onto the metal or maybe the substrate. Okay. So in this reactive and activated reactive uh, electron beam evaporation, there are the several subtypes also there. So activated reactive type is there. Okay. So here in this technique, actually we are using certain kind of aluminum where sorry, now we are talking about the activated reactive type, or maybe the short form we are calling it as ARE. Okay. So here in this process, two-folded, so this process is two-folded. Generally it is divided into two steps to enhance the reaction efficiency through activation of the reactive gas that are necessary for a deposition of the composite film to modify the growth kinetics and hence the structure morphology of the deposit. So that why you are, so that is why you are divided into the two parts. So plasmas are also used to activate the reactive gas. So its evaporation force may be either e-beam source or maybe electron beam or maybe some kind of resistant heated source. So recently developments in the ARE process are um, happened, and it is to produce species. So confinement of your operation technique and development of modified plasma excitation geometry. Now, what are the application? We can make titanium dioxide, silicon dioxide oxide as a optical coating. Then manufacture of carbide, nitrogen means the titanium carbide, uh, titanium nitride, which can be used for coating of some kind of tool material or maybe the cutting tool material. Okay. So here you can see. Now next is called the spluttering. So it is a common method, or uh, it is a common method, or maybe that is easily available method, and nowadays means we are extensively using this patterning technique everywhere. So steps for patterning process: first we have to put a target material and the substrate is placed in a vacuum chamber as I have shown in the figure also. So this is, if you see in the diagram, there is a vacuum chamber and where you are putting your substrate, and then you are putting your target material or or maybe there source material over there, and then you are using certain kind of plasma over there. If voltage is applied between the target and the substrate, so there should be kind of potential difference in between cathode and in between the anode. So plasma is created by the ionizing a spluttering gas, generally a chemically inert heavy gas like argon is used. So here we are using the inert gas like argon, and then we are making this gas into the plasma form, and then that plasma actually it is deposited onto the substrate. So atoms or molecules of the target material are ejected into the gas form or plasma due to the bombardment of the sputtering gas, which is ejected onto the target material, and it is going to deposit it onto the substrate itself. So simply we are putting certain kind of potential difference in between cathode and anode, and then we are injecting certain kind of plasma over there, and which is nothing but the directly coming from using the argon gases. Then that plasma is directly hitting onto your target material or maybe the source material. Then due to that some kind of atom or molecules, it is directly coming from the source material, and then it is deposited onto the substrate material. So that is why it is called a splattering technique. So for efficient momentum transfer, the atom weight of the splattering gas like argon, then neon, chromium, xenon should be close to the atomic weight of the target. Otherwise, it is a little bit difficult. Then what are the advantages about this splattering technique? So metal having the high melting point can be easily splattered. Then films by splattering have better adhesions on the substrate than evaporated films. And this the disadvantages: inner splattering gases are built into the growing film as a impurity, so it can create certain kind of impurities too. But if you use overall, if you see the overall, the splattering technique is the good, and it is cheap, and it is less time consuming. Okay, now we'll go for the next technique, that is a cathodic arc deposition. So we are going to discuss this method. So first we have to know what is the cathodic arc deposition method. So an electric arc is used to vaporize the material from the target cathode, then vaporize the material, then condensed on a substrate, forming a thin stream. So here you are using some cathode materials over there, then you are using the plasma, and then that plasma ions are is going to cathode side, and the metal ions it is going to the substrate side. So here you are using some kind of potential difference by using some kind of power supply. Okay, so you are using some kind of high potential difference in between your cathode and anode metal. So cathodic arc takes place a special place among this POD process because of high ion density. So the technique may be, it can be measured 90% with the other technique, but here the density of the ions whatever we are getting is more than the other process. So here are the vaporization occurs when the high current low voltage is passed through a source material placed between two electrode at anode and cathode, and this process produces extremely hard flames, therefore can be used for the thin hard film super hard coating or nano composite coating. It can be used for the depositing metallic, ceramic, and composite film also. So these techniques are more versatile than the other. So here we can use the many material. We can see some kind of hard material also. Hmm. Now next is the filtered cathodic arc deposition process. So here from this name we can understand that it is a little bit modified version of the previous one. So here the filter cathodic arc process is extensively used to deposit a tribological and wear resistant thin film. Mainly it eliminates the macroparticle that degraded the coating performance. So the small size particles, or maybe the small sized particles, rather I can say that all the particle whatever it is deposited onto your substrate, all particle size are more or less same. Okay, so there should not be mixture of the bigger particle and the smaller particle, because as we know that if the particle size will be bigger, it is very difficult to stick onto the substrate material, and not only that, is its surface area will be less, so there will be less adhesion in between coating material and the substrate material. So here ejected particles are the fed into the curved duct. So we can see there in this diagram, the duct over is there. So through this duct your particle is going through, and then it is falling on to your substrate material. Stirring field which separate the particle by mass, thus filtering them and like a mass spectrometer. Okay, so here there are the several kind of filtering coils which is absorbing the bigger particle size and only allow the smaller particle size to go forward. So then unwanted macro particles and neutral atoms are filtered out by a mechanical filter, and coating space is reaching the substrate, okay, which are the pure ions. And then beams of particles must be rested over the substrate to coat large area which is acceptable uniformly. So here this is actually the movable one, and so that it can cover up the whole area if the sample size will be bigger also. Not only that, here the purity of the coating material is almost at 100%, and then it is very easy to take out the impurities from the coating material too. Okay, so this is about the filter coating arc deposition. Let us discuss the ion plating. So it is an atomic atomistic vacuum coating process where depositing film is continuously or periodically bombarded by energetic atom sized inert or the reactive particles. So here we are not putting any kind of heat, we are not putting any kind of electron beam, we are not putting any kind of laser. So here we are using certain kind of energetic atomic sized inert or maybe a reactive particle. We are bombarding onto the source material, and then we are doing the coating onto the substrate. So it is also called ion assisted depositions, IAD, or maybe ion vapor deposition. Activated reactive evaporation our process with a negative bias on the substrate is called a reactive ion plating. So it depends upon the source how we are going to use different source. So using the different source, it is having different nomenclature, and the source of the depositing atoms can be from vacuuming operation, splattering arc evaporation, or from a chemical vapor precursor also. So from this technique there are certain mechanisms are also available. So first one is called surface preparation, then nucleation and interface formation and the film growth. Okay, then there are the several different types of ion plating also there. Okay, we like plasma based ion plating, okay, which bombarding species like generally isolated ion from a plasma, and then vacuum based ion plating bombarding species are isolated ions from a ion source in a vacuum. Okay, let us discuss the last one, that is a pulsed laser deposition or maybe the PLD process. So a high power pulsed laser is focused on a target which is abilited to form a plume of atoms, molecules and particulates directly towards the substrate, and it can work under controlled gas environment, both inert and the reactive gas. So it depends upon which kind of material we are going to coat. So mechanism of this PLD process, the mechanism of this PLD process can be explained in the three steps. First one is called interaction of the laser beam and the target, plasma film formation, nucleation and growth of the thin films. Okay, so these are the three. So simple till now we are discussing about different types of heating elements, maybe electrical coil or maybe the certain kind of laser or maybe certain kind of electron beam. So here first we are putting is laser beam directly onto the target itself, then it is creating certain kind of plasma. That plasma is directly deposited onto your substrate material, so that is why it is called the pulsed laser deposition. So now how we are going to control your laser depending upon the whatever it is pulsed means, whether it is pulsed means there will be any or off mechanism, or maybe there they it will be continuous one. So it depends upon what type of source energy you are using to you for coating. Some factors that influence the deposition rate is called the target material, pulse energy of the laser, distance from the target to the substrate, type of gas and pressure in chamber, and oxygen, argon, etc., etc. So here the first targets I have given. So some benefits or other film deployment method I have mentioned here: faster response, well controlled deposition rate, then relative high deposition rate, okay, and growth in any environment, flexible, easy to implement, okay, reproduce the composition of the target, used to deposit multi-layer film, and deposition of highly crystalline films also possible. And some advantages also I have mentioned here: highly defect or particulate concentration, uneven coverage, not well suited for large scale film growth, okay, and the PLD does not fit every application. So these are some disadvantages also. And the application also I have shown here about the PLD technique. So generally nowadays we are using onto window, maybe can be window or main, maybe at our household window, simply where at the time of raining that water particle is not sticking with the surface of that particular glass or maybe certain kind of electrical material. So some kind of semiconductor material we are using, we are certain kind of cutting tools, we are doing the coating by this PLD process. Then we are coming into the last slide. Okay, so here we'll take the summary about the our physical vapor deposition technique. Okay, so in this PVD, okay, chemical reactions are not involved except for reactive splattering deposition. So here directly we are making any kind of gas or maybe vapor, then that is deposited onto the substrate. Then the main advantages of disadvantages of the PVD are the controllable growth of the thin film with a highly purity. And as I told already, you can eliminate the impurities by using the several kind of methods, and not only that, you can use the controllable growth depending upon that how much energy you are going to put on your target material or maybe the source material, and the ability to control the structural and morphological properties of the film. So easily you can make the material from hydrophobic or hydrophilic, or not only that, you can make the material which can withstand with the high temperature, or maybe it can easily electrical conductive. So whatever the property you want, you can do it by this method. And the improvement in repeatability and reliability reliability of the modified substrate. In most cases, instruments are highly precise as well as the cost effective. So modification techniques can be applied in various fields like manufacturing of semiconductor devices, then optical coatings, tribological coating, aerospace industries, and here we shall listed the a few several applications as possible. Okay, so here I have mentioned. Okay, so this is about the physical vapor deposition technique. Thank you.